Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at the newest Marvel movie, Eternals. This one had a lot of bad press around it, people saying this is the worst one ever made before it came out. It had a lower Rotten Tomato scores than usual. Fucking DEFCON alerts were sounding, people going into full meltdown mode, shitting on it before it came out, or defending it before it came out without any of them ever seeing it. So it was pandemonium on Twitter. I went into this expecting it to not be great because I don't know anything about the Eternals or any of that shit. I thought the trailer was okay, just some more generic Marvel stuff. Now, after having sat through the movie, I can tell you that I was 100% right. It was just some more generic Marvel stuff. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was great either. It's a movie where I watched it and I'll probably never think about it again. I like the concept of the movie. I'm a sucker for like space shit and celestials and gods and all of that, and that plays a huge role in this movie without giving anything away. So I love the ideas of the movie, but the execution is kinda doggy ass at points. I don't think it's like ever like horrible, like laughably bad or anything, but like there's some really rough CGI moments that a lot of people were also picking out before it came out that is present in the final film during some of the fights. It gets real noodly where some of the characters like stretching all over the place out of nowhere, fucking spaghettifying. So like yeah, there's definitely some silly moments like that, which is weird for a Marvel movie, which is known for their big CGI fights and all that. You'd think it'd be super clean, but it definitely isn't at points here. That's not to say that the movie looks bad, because like I said, I love the space shit, and when they're doing all the space shit and all of these space powers, celestials and gods, and showcasing all that, it looks magnificent. It looks fucking great. I love the visuals there, but their fights can get kind of rough. And there's one bad guy in particular who's a real goofy villain, probably one of the worst villains in the MCU. Doesn't even have a name, but he's like the main person that they keep clashing against, and he's completely nameless, and he's not very cool either. He's not as bad as Black Widow's villain, whose superpower was he's stinky, so when you smell him, you can't hurt him. Spoiler alert, but he's not as bad as that guy, but he's still pretty silly. Anyway, I'm already getting like way off course. Like I said, I like the ideas of the movie. The main Eternals, they're living on Earth for 7,000 years now after their mission, and you know they're viewed as gods. They're not really hiding anything, so throughout history, the gods are basically structured around the actual Eternals, and that's a cool thing to explore, so you get to see them going through history, doing some shit and influencing some things. But just overall, it wasn't super engaging. I wouldn't say it's boring by any means, because I think the characters had good chemistry, so even when they're just like bantering, which is classic Marvel formula, it's still enjoyable to listen to them. I think they all work together well, but it just wasn't like I wasn't like really invested. And I think that's mainly because like the things they're fighting are just mutant dogs. The deviants are just like these dog creatures that they just use golden glowing energy against. So they just slash at the dog legs, and then that's about it for like action and all that. And when there's not action, it's them discussing the deviants and like humans. Do we like them? We like them. But are they worth liking? I don't know. It's like you can only hear that conversation so many times. But on a more positive note, I really like what the Eternals sets up. It introduces some really cool characters into the mix that I'm pretty excited to see explored throughout the rest of the MCU here. I like where it's going. I just feel like this movie wasn't a super fun ride to get there. I really don't have much else to say about this movie. Like, it's not even that I'm trying to avoid spoilers, it's just a very underwhelming MCU entry. I don't think it's a horrible movie by any means. I think it's fine on its own feet, but it's just not a movie where you're going to be excited. And you'd probably forget the characters' names by the end of it if they weren't named after gods. I just really don't think it's a very memorable movie, but I do like the direction it pushed the MCU by the end. So I'm excited to see where it goes, but overall, I just don't think it was that great. But again, I don't think it's horrible either. plugging Eternals into the moist meter, I'm just gonna give it like a 60%. I feel. Like I said, there's nothing about it that's bad, but it is just the same Marvel formula you're used to, that it doesn't try to do anything super different. And by doing that, by playing it so incredibly safe, it becomes this forgettable movie. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it, and that's about it. So yeah.